All right, we're going live.
All right, I'd like to call the Kingsburg Downtown Business Improvement District Advisory Board meeting to order. It is Tuesday, March 7th at 8:02 a.m. We are meeting here inside the Kingsburg City Council chambers. Present, we have myself, Reggie Gerke, June Hess, Lauren Cooper, and Amanda Carrasco, thank you. And which establishes a quorum for us. So we're going to go ahead and move on to public comment. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to make a comment that's not on our agenda already. That was easy. Moving on. Approved minutes from the February 7th meeting as presented by our city clerk. They are on page 2 of your agenda.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Amanda.
Second.
Second from June. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. All right, moving on to item number 4, the photography proposal with a possible action. You will find that in your packet also. This is from Kim at Tenacity. She's the one that's been that did our first round of photography for us, and there she is, so I don't have to keep talking. But Kim was going to be here, I think.
Yeah, she's on the way.
She's on her way, so what we can do is we'll go ahead and table this agenda item, and we'll come back to it here in a minute once she gets here. So.
You sure?
Yeah, I don't know, so good, I should.
Okay.
Taking off?
Yeah, she doesn't.
Okay, all right. All right, so we're going to table the photography proposal for her to come here. So let's move on to item number 5, social media manager proposals. We have a few of those in our packet. We have one from Lauren Goosen? Gossen? Gosen? Okay. And one from Matthew Kruper and one from Aaron Hansen. So open for discussion on that, or anybody that would like to make a comment on it from the audience is fine too.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm just introducing myself. I'm Quinn Hurt. I was invited here by Leslie. We met earlier. I do social media marketing and content creation, so she thought it may be wise for me to sit in on this meeting.
Oh, okay.
He came a little bit late after the deadline.
Okay.
Yeah, I found out about it 2 days after. So.
Oh, okay, okay. So none of them are here right now, right?
None of them are here now. So let's have a little discussion on this. Do any of these meet the bid that we're asking for? Do they qualify for what we're looking for? So forth and so on. We don't really have a complete bid from Matthew Kruper. I think that doesn't really meet the requirements of the bid, right, Abby?
Yeah, I didn't read, I mean, he doesn't, it's up to you guys. He doesn't explain what he's gonna do.
Right.
Abby, what were they asked to submit when they submitted the proposal?
The exact thing that you guys wrote up. I just
So
copied and
experience
pasted.
Okay, and then their actual amount that they would,
It's a request for
Bid up
proposal,
to,
so
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so there should be a budget attached to some extent, like how they're gonna spend that money.
So I think there was confusion initially. It was like a city position.
Mhm.
So like
Right.
Erin Hansen, I emailed her, I was like, hey, great, but you should submit a proposal. Same with Kruper. So when I emailed Kruper, he responded with
With the
what's
amount.
in here, but Erin didn't get back to me with like an actual proposal.
Okay.
So, question, just to make sure we do this right, do we have to take one of these?
If you have reason to believe that it doesn't fill the requirements, then you don't have to.
Okay.
Okay, or can you extend the deadline and can you rebuttal these and ask for them to supply the information?
I already asked them,
Yeah.
Okay,
and I told them what the deadline was. I mean, I can't use that as a reason.
okay. So what are the options, I guess, is my,
Well, the options are we can accept one of the three.
I know that one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we can reject them all if they don't meet the requirements of the bid.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really something
The
I have to
proposal.
ask the city. I don't usually handle stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah, so usually if we reject like a bid through our engineering department, there's a reason why,
Right.
yeah. They don't have the right contractor's license number or something like that, or type of.
The Lauren
Gosen?
Gosen, thank you, I'm gonna keep saying it wrong,
no, that's right, yeah.
looks like a complete bid to me,
Yes, it does.
or a complete proposal to me, so. I wish he was here so we could.
I did let them all know that today was the meeting also.
Okay, so we have to take some kind of action on this. Kind of don't want to make a decision with just the four of us, that's the downside, but it is a quorum, so.
Can we table it to the next meeting? I know we want to get this rocking and rolling, but,
We can table the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's table the decision.
so when we table it though, it will not change as it is. It is gonna remain the same. We can't,
Yeah.
We can't request anything further. The only thing we can do is request some clarification from the city attorney on if we have to accept one of these.
Yeah.
okay,
So I think let's table it
Okay.
for legal advice, basically. So can I get a motion to table that?
yeah, I make a motion to table the, social media manager possible action.
To the next meeting.
To the next meeting,
Okay.
the next scheduled meeting, yeah. Second from anyone?
Oh, I'll second that.
From Lauren, all right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign, all right. So we're gonna table that. So, we'll get some clarification on that and move forward, and then hopefully we can get the rest of the board here, because I would really like those two to have some
They should
input
be in
too.
on the discussion.
Yeah.
If you table it and they email you back, Abigail, can they provide that to?
No, the deadline.
Okay, so whatever submitted
Yeah.
as of today is.
Yeah,
The only thing they could do is come to the meeting
Yeah.
and provide public comment during the
Okay,
meeting.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't change their written proposal.
Correct.
okay, got it.
And if their proposal doesn't meet the requirements, we can't accept it.
Yeah. Because
So-
really the point of it is this is public now, so
Yeah.
somebody could be like, oh, well, Paul Kruper could be, or not Paul Kruper, Matthew Kruper could say, well, you know, I'll do all of this, or for $900 a month,
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
if you're using public funds, you have to follow those regulations.
Yep. Okay, so let's go back to item number 4, the photography proposal from Kim. So, welcome.
Thank you. Boy, I guess I learned if you miss that window, you get caught in every school.
Yeah.
So sorry. Last time I was here like 25 minutes early, so I'm like, okay. No, I'll be here 20 minutes early next time. So anyways, this is the proposal, and I hope that I addressed some of the things that we talked about at the last meeting. I thought if we go ahead and we schedule everyone ahead of time for each quarter-ish, I kind of spread out the year. We're coming in, finishing in April this time, March 31st being our deadline, so I kind of spread out the rest of the year into 2 segments. And I thought if we schedule ahead, that's what we've been doing anyway. If we schedule ahead and then I come in and I shoot a full day, 6 or 8 hours, whatever it takes, and just hit everybody in that one day, it saves everybody cost. So that's kind of what I put in here. I'm estimating that I can shoot 24 to 28 businesses a day. So
That should be plenty
I
for
think-
new, yeah.
that's what I looked back at how many new we've had coming in, and we haven't had that many. So I think that's plenty of allocated time. So that's what we're looking at there. Any questions on that part?
Okay, so it would be August and December of this year, but like if we were to do it in the future, maybe it would be No, that's pretty spread out.
I tried to segment it into 3 even chunks. If we had started this or ended last year's contract in December and started fresh, then we would have spread it out differently, but because we're going to March 31st,
Okay.
the even chunks really are, August, December. And then it would give us the same renewal again next year, that January to March.
So, my question would be, what if we don't have 24 businesses? What if it's less than?
We're really only
6,000.
getting maybe 5-ish new ones
Per month?
per,
Or
I
even-
mean, quarter, I would say.
Yeah. I don't know, what do you think that, I mean, we can't predict how many are gonna come into town. But what's the average, like, new business license in the bid district? I know, right?
Well, no, just
I'm just counting, like, how many have come in the last month or so?
There's not a lot of vacant space. So I can't imagine there's too many additions. There may be some,
Second, I
some
actually have an
replacements.
answer to that. Let me pull up my email, because I just sent Councilmember Silva the new businesses, so I actually,
Okay.
I have that, so if you guys wanna discuss, I have to wake up my Outlook and stuff, and I could tell you the answer to that.
There's probably delinquents too, that we haven't done photography of, and they may decide all of a sudden that they wanna
Okay, sure.
catch up, so that's part of it as well.
For event, photography, I'll go on to the next little part of
Sure.
your proposal. Are we wanting to do event photography this year? My suggestion is, since we already did event photography last year, maybe we can, save that money by not doing it this year, and then maybe follow up within the next year to get new updated photos.
Yeah, I don't know how often we need to update the photos for the
Right.
events
Yeah.
themselves.
And also, I feel like that falls potentially under the umbrella of your social media manager. If we are asking them to attend the event, they're gonna be creating content at the event, it may be some overlap, also double budget. No.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Is that portion of your, can we, not include that in your
Of course.
portion of the proposal?
Yes, of course. I'd also be willing to work with, your social media manager if you wanted to do live broadcasts, depending on who you bring in, if they're not comfortable with that, because I did some live broadcasts this year from your events. So I can't remember, I think it was might have been the car show, I think, and so I did live broadcasts then.
Okay.
And invited people, hey, come on out, we're out here for the next 6 hours, come out, you know, bring your family, and showed them the event, so that's something that we could also do, depending on what your social media manager is comfortable with.
Okay.
All right, January 1st to last Friday, there's 4 new business licenses in the BID. So in 3 months, well, I guess 2 months.
What are they though?
They are, so there's a new owner for Chinese Pagoda,
Okay,
so they,
same business,
And
different
but
owner.
in
Yeah.
name change.
Right,
yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
different business,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's kind of the thing, like with Heather purchasing Fugazi's, she might want different pictures
Sure.
on, yeah.
Okay, okay.
So
That's
Chinese
fair.
Pagoda, and then we have a new business that's at Trinkets and Treasures. And then we have, Brew Wings,
Oh, yeah,
and then we have a new, beauty salon person.
okay.
Located inside a salon.
Yeah,
Not a new salon, but
yeah,
So 2 are
a seat.
encompassed under the listing of the
yeah,
4 trying to actually create.
yeah, but they still pay the
Right,
BID,
exactly, yeah,
yeah.
so there are 4 new, and that was in,
That's from January 1st to March 3rd, so actually not 3 months, that's 2 months.
The other thing too, there's some businesses like Magash, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Magash, we've shot them, but they're not completely into their building and ready to go yet, so we need to finish that. Those would be some of the ones that would be included in this time. It's not a reshoot for them, but it's a completion of the shoot. And then the other thing that we have is we have a lot of stylists, massage therapists that are tucked in some of these buildings, so those are people that would also be.
so it's two days per session, like,
So it would be a day each session,
okay,
so,
so the 2 6-hour session dates per year, that's one in August and one.
yes.
Okay.
So the reason the number looks inflated is because what we have to account for is all of the scheduling time. So if we just come into town and I shoot, what's been happening is people say, oh my gosh, I need to talk to my manager, and the manager's not here.
Yeah.
So we end up having to schedule everybody. That's all the phone calls, that's the pre-production, that's the post-production. So,
So 2 6-hour session dates per year, so you're confident you can get everyone scheduled in just 2 days? All of those businesses
Well,
are gonna
it'd be
say,
just
yeah.
one day per
Yeah,
session.
per
Mhm.
session,
mhm.
whatever.
I think so. It takes, if I call ahead of time, we're scheduled, they know I'm coming. Everybody's dressed and ready if they want a staff photo, and then it's usually 15 minutes, so I can come and come out.
So
So that's for an hour.
so what if
Mhm.
they cancel, blah, blah, blah? Are we gonna pay more money for you to come out again?
So what we
To
just,
reshoot them?
right, so what we talked about at the last meeting was that if they miss their scheduled time,
Mm-hmm.
we come into town, they're lined up, they've now taken our time,
Yeah.
and they've lost their window.
Uh-huh.
So if they miss that, then they would schedule on their own time at their own fee.
Or they wait till December,
Or somewhere.
okay, they go the next term.
I see.
Okay.
I remember talking about that.
And that's not always a bad thing, because if they decide they want to schedule on their own, they're paying on their own at that point, they can have a full shoot.
Yeah.
They can use it for their own advertising, their own social media, all of that, because in the past, we have not offered these photos to them.
Right.
And they've asked that question every time, and so I've just done my best to say, hey, this is for the website, and once we are settled, the board will be looking at the possibility of these photos being released. But if they do their own shoot and they pay for it themselves, then, we can go in and do a lot more for them and help them market, so.
And then down at the bottom, photography updates by request of business with appointment.
That's when they miss their window, and then they request, or they call and they say, we've done a rebrand, we want you to come back and shoot, we've changed our logo, we have different staff, we have a new owner, would you come back and shoot? And so that's when they would have a full shoot of their own.
And they're paying that.
They're
Yeah,
paying that.
So the bid pays once, and then they pay to update themselves in the
Correct.
future. Okay, correct, I can see that, that's the reason.
Yeah, and I mean, this is flexible, the 3,000, the 2 shoots at the year, I mean, if we have to squeeze in, I'm estimating that we can do 24. If we have more, obviously, we'll just accommodate, if I have to shoot an extra hour, I'm saying it's a 6 to 8 hour day, but if we have to go a little bit extra, it's not that big of a deal.
My only thing is I can, see businesses wanting the bid to pay for the $275 if they want updated photos of a new business, of their new business. So I can kind of see that happening.
I think we need to put together a policy for that
Okay.
in regards to you get your initial one, but every 3 years, you get included in an update. Or something along those lines. Or if you want it sooner, you pay for it.
Yeah, their information can be updated free of charge on our biannual website update.
Yeah.
But photography is included, initial contact and potential for.
But I think we also would have to clarify what would be the initial contact. Like, you look at Chinese Pagoda, that was,
Yeah, so
That's-
they have a new business license, so they
it's a
now
whole brand new
qualify.
one, so they now qualify for
Yeah.
a new shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
But if for instance, I don't know,
Change.
Heritage Co., you change your
Yeah.
logo
Or move.
or move, then that'd be up to you.
Right, so I would pay for that, yeah.
Yeah.
Or, we've never had this, I think we had one business that submitted photos for the website. We've never, thrown that out there, but, I know someone else had photos done and they submitted, some of them are on the website, so I don't know if they sent them directly, because they didn't come through us.
So what they did, there were a couple like that, so, Strategic Industry was one, because they don't have anything in town that they do, they're just located here. So, ABBA's, same thing, So I just shot what I could if they're local, but that really doesn't represent them. So there were a couple that wanted to submit their own. I think drafting just kind of some guidelines to send out there is key, and to say, look, this is what we offer you, this is what we do. If you want something more to that, then we can give you a special rate with our photographer. But we, yes, yeah, so I think we can be really flexible with that, but I think laying it out ahead of time answers those questions.
And I think we can be pretty firm on you need to use our contracted photographer, because it does,
Just for the website, just for.
just for the website, just so the cohesiveness part of it. But then also, if we do have people that want to submit pictures that are outside of the scope that the photographer can provide, I think we have to
Like
put it
drone
that way.
footage or whatever.
Yeah, and but those have to be approved.
Reviews, yeah.
They have to be approved. Do they meet the branding? Do they
Okay.
meet the look that we're trying to do? Which I would say most of the time, yes,
Yeah,
unless it's some weird, crazy photo or something.
And there have been a few that said, oh, well, no, we have our own photos. And I'm like, well, we appreciate that you do, but we're trying to keep the photography consistent
Yeah.
across the board, and this is the way that we're doing it. And it's actually provided to you as a service
Right.
for being a member of the BID. And so I've had to kind of
You already paid for these photos.
reassure, yes, yeah, get past the hang up that this is a spam phone call.
Well, once, I think the member education will come along with seeing that final product and then putting it all together. And then also realizing they're not included because they didn't participate,
Mhm.
and the next round they will jump in on.
Right, right.
So I think we should come up with a photography policy, I guess.
I think that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Does anybody want to work on that, or?
Type of vote.
You're good with that paragraph?
Somebody volunteering
It's
themselves.
already halfway handwritten right here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you. I think with that being said, we probably should table this one also, just so that, because we're missing 3 people today, so.
Sure.
And then there's some other discussion things, and then our policy might dictate maybe some changes to this,
Sure.
if we have some more conversation on that, so.
Also, I think we can, lock down the social media manager and confirm that they can do the event photography
Right,
in some capacity, and maybe not the same, but some type of event coverage, content, and then we can confidently remove that, knowing it's done or not, you know?
true, yeah.
If we don't
We're just asking for, with Kim's here, it's not really a request for proposal, because we're asking for a continuance of contract.
Yeah.
So we have to stay within, I think, the same guidelines of that original contract.
Okay,
So, we may still have to include the event photography to some extent, but maybe get, Mr. Nolan to
clarify.
comment or clarify on that. Or if that's not if that was a one-time request, maybe it doesn't apply anymore.
I don't think you're gonna complete the contract with her, and now you're extending it the way that you guys see fit, that you both agree on, then.
Then it's
Yeah, I
open to
think
whatever
it's
we
fine,
want,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Works for me. Yeah, so I think there's a couple of clarification points we need
Sure.
as a board before we can move forward with it. But thank you, this is really good, and I think personally, I think the price makes sense to me from a professional photography standpoint. It's just what items in there we actually need, so. Good with that?
My only concern with, I feel like I just have a concern with the photography update, just because I feel like $275 per business is high, on what they're getting. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not a full shoot, right?
Well, it would be at that point.
With her. Oh, it would be like a personal contract between the two of them.
Yeah, so it is a discounted package rate for me to come all the way back out, spend the time and shoot everything that they want for their business. And the way that I work, they get every proof.
Okay.
And so they can do product photography, they can do staff, they can do individual headshots for business cards. That's all included. They have my full attention for the hour that I'm there.
Would you mind emailing us something like that?
Okay.
What's included in
Sure.
that, and then we'll put that in our photography policy, and that'll have nice
That way they
clarification.
understand, yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense, thank you.
Yeah, that way we don't, it's like, oh, I get $275 for 3 photos?
Right. Right, and
That's what I
maybe
thought.
you would
Yeah.
say what your normal rate would be, and how this is a discount for bid members, if
Okay.
you feel like that's appropriate.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I think we need a motion to take action on this.
Make a motion to
All right.
table.
And a second.
Oh, I'll second that.
Lauren, thank you. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same side. Motion
Is
carries.
it to the April 4th meeting, or is it after the April 4th meeting?
It's gonna be the April 4th meeting, yeah.
And you just want the clarification statement
Yes.
from me, and that's it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's all.
Yep.
All right.
And then we should have the final decision there.
All right.
Hopefully everybody shows up. All right, moving on. We've already tabled number 5, so on to number 6, the May 6th, line dancing, possible action. Whose item is that?
It was Peyton's, and then I think that Leslie was gonna cover if Peyton wasn't here.
Okay, she's just sent me some information.
Oh, good.
To read out. She was gonna be there, but, she just had baby, so congratulations, Pete. It says bid line dancing, DJ, so this is like a, budget estimation. So I think the idea is that it's a bid event. DJ, $500, instructor, $225 to $300, toilets, $450, double sink, $95. Tom Hensley will let us use the trailer, total $1,270 to $1,345. I think the difference is if it's a 2-hour instructor or 3-hour. And then the date is May 6th. She also has June 3rd available, but we don't want it to overlap with other events.
Can you give me those budget numbers, just the final?
Yes, $1,270 to $1,345.
So I guess what's the request? Want the bid to pay for it, or?
Bid wants to put on a line dance event. Kind of the gist of it.
Okay, that's what I think,
Right.
I think that's, because it just has the budget, so it didn't have any context, but I think that's it, Vernon. Did it say anything else, Abigail?
No, the email literally said, just, can you please put this on the
Oh,
agenda?
okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we can table this for.
Well, we're getting a lot done today, aren't we?
I know. Okay, so Peyton am I okay to read this?
Yeah.
Okay, so she said, yes, the request is to have bid pay for it. Historically, Bella Creamery has funded it all themselves. We now want to open it up to everyone to be a part of it, not just the creamery.
Does that fall within our approved budget? What part of it? I don't know if that's necessarily marketing directly, but then we have 10%
For events? Oh, no.
for events. What was the other part of that for?
I also wanted to add, it doesn't have to be on Smith Street, it could be a different street downtown. The feedback consistently with the survey she did of bid members was just to have more events. in.
Right. No, I'm
Yeah,
completely agree with that. I want to make sure we're within our
like where does it fall
approved
under the
budget, or
budget?
does this have to, well, it obviously has to go to city council anyways for approval because it's a permit.
And it has to be 45 days in advance.
You're right. So we probably need to figure it out today. But I want to see if it's,
Look through the old minutes, what you guys.
I'm trying to remember what our budget was on that.
If it's 10%, then it would fall within it. 10% would be $2,600.
Right. I think it was at least 10, maybe 20%. But I wanted to just verify that that was for events and other things, which I think it is because we've paid for the trolley out of that.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember when you guys passed that. I'm gonna go, you
That
guys
was a
can
while
keep
ago.
discussing
That
if
was
you
a while
want, and
ago,
then I'll
yeah.
go through.
Are we, financially contributing to the Swedish Festival as a bid?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I
And car
know-
show? What is our other, like, event?
Merchant open house. Or the holiday kickoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That,
Whatever
like
we're calling it
budget-wise.
these days, yeah. I think that's that's the only other main event that the bid's actually scheduled for, that we've talked about. But that's a minimal expense. We can spend marketing money marketing. Really, the only event expense to that, I think, is the trolley. When we run the trolley.
Peyton just added that, the Mercantile has a large event on May sixth, so we can always push it to June third.
June 3rd is the day, we'd have street eats on June 2nd.
Okay, and I worry about the heat in June.
Yeah, you're gonna, so, that's on the tail end of Memorial Day weekend, is the weekend before. School is finishing up.
This graduation.
Graduation is probably June 3rd. Laura, would that be your guess?
For the high school or for?
Any of the above?
School gets out for the elementary school May 31st. I know that the, promotion for the 8th grade, I think, is the last day of May, because we get out on the 1st. But I don't
Okay.
know what the high school schedule is. I think they go a week longer than.
I think they go a week longer too, so they might be that Friday.
Probably the 8th.
The 8th, yeah. That's a lot of stuff to shove into 7-8 days.
So the 6th is a Tuesday, right? No, what, did you say a 3rd?
June 3rd.
June third, I think
Which
it's
is
Saturday.
The Saturday, yeah.
I would probably like to see it more May sixth than June third. Everyone has way too much going on when school's getting out with graduation.
Well, what's the Mercantile's event that's happening that day?
I think it's a Mother's thing.
I think it's a Mother's Day event, but I wasn't sure of the time.
I'll look it up.
Is it just like within their store, or they have a street closure or anything related to it? 'Cause I'm saying that, I don't think I think it'd be good if they're going on simultaneously.
Okay, it sounds like KHS graduation is June first.
June 1st is KHS,
Yeah,
I agree.
Thursday, okay.
and she said we did it in June and July last year, and the weather was fine.
Yeah, I don't think the weather, 'cause it's evening thing.
Okay.
I don't think the weather's too much of a
Oh, true.
concern in June,
Okay.
but I'm just trying to think, there's a lot going on that week then. We might have a hard time getting people to come out to one more thing. But the May date, I don't see why we couldn't do it alongside Mercantile. I think that would help Mercantile, 'cause it'd bring more people.
I think
I
it
don't know
would
what the
give,
event is, so I'm not sure.
I think it would give our event, the line dance, a better turnout too, since people are already coming down for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
It's a Mother's, event to benefit Teen Challenge, and it says Saturday, May 6th, but more details to follow, so I don't have a time.
In time, okay. I think we could run them together, unless there's some weird, crazy reason that it's gonna create a big conflict.
It sounds like the instructor's available these 2 dates, so we're gonna just have to pick one. We want to do that.
If we want to do the event, I would prefer the May date.
Yeah, scheduling wise, it seems less of a conflict than all of the events in June.
June, what are your thoughts?
Like June, or do you like May?
Is this on Smith Street, is this on Draper Street, where is it?
It sounds like that's open, but
That's open to
Smith
discussion.
is always such an easy spot right there because there's less of a, well, I don't know, Roadhouse is there now, so it's pretty busy, but
We may have to do a little research with the businesses ahead of time to figure out the best place for it.
on the approval, they all have to sign off if you block
Yeah, they
the
do,
parking
yeah.
spaces.
Yeah, 'cause we're gonna block the entire street there,
Yeah.
basically.
Unless you do it a little further back, more towards the church.
Yeah, you don't wanna
Usually
get
like
too
half
far
of
back, though, yeah, I don't know. I think there's some logistics there. I think if anything, we need to say yes or no and what day at
Okay.
this point, and then we have a couple of weeks to iron out the details for the permit.
Okay.
So,
Can I make a motion to approve the BID, what are we calling it, line dance event from, Saturday, May sixth?
with the budget that's proposed. Right?
Yes, with the
Okay.
budget that's proposed,
With a 3-hour instructor.
3 hours.
There's either like the 2-hour.
Up to the 3-hour budget,
Yeah.
yeah.
Up to the 3-hour budget.
Okay, the motion from Lauren, do I have a second? All right, we have one from,
Amanda?
Okay.
oh my God, my brain's not working for me.
Pick a name.
It's been a long day already. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, motion carries. We will have line dancing on May 6th.
Okay.
Details to follow. All right, any other reports from board members?
I was asked this morning if we ever discussed the police presence in downtown. I actually no. And I was told that early in the morning, there's some vagrant person that goes and tries opening all the doors downtown. And they were going to call the police when they saw this happening, but they thought, well, then they didn't see him anymore, so they didn't. So, I don't know what we can do about that.
They should call the police.
They should call the police. Yeah, yeah, if you see anything like that, yeah.
So they could respond.
But I think we could ask the
Yeah,
police
do you know what time,
department.
June?
About 5:30 in the morning.
We could just put a patrol request in for early morning.
Is it the front doors or the back doors that they're?
It sounded to me like it was the front doors, trying all the front doors.
I could let the PD know.
Any other reports?
Since you're here, do you maybe wanna give us a little, I don't wanna feel like you wasted your time coming to.
Oh, no, it's not a waste of time at all, but just talking about what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do you
sure,
maybe
sure.
wanna say that, and then maybe you can give us a gist of what we're kind of looking for
Yeah, of
when
course.
we're picking a
Yeah.
social media manager, or whatever you wanna say.
Of course.
If you could, so if you could come up and say your name, yeah.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name's Quinn Hurt. My wife and I just moved here back in September. I run a content creation and digital marketing company called Oat and Oak. We do everything from photography, videography, graphic design, to social media management, specifically, you know, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all to promote, you know, local business. I spoke with Leslie earlier, and she mentioned that you guys were looking for someone. I found out 2 days after the deadline had ended, so, you know, I just came to listen in on what's going on, what the verdict would be. But, yeah, I'd be glad to help in any way I can. And, yeah, I read the proposal that was written, and, you know, the budget, that's fine. I can definitely work within that. So yeah, I'd be glad to write something further if it comes down to that.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
How do we measure how effective we are, or how, you know, with all this, with the social media, how do we measure if it's working and how well it's working?
Yeah, that's a great question too.
That's part of the proposal.
And a lot of,
That's part of that job, is it does require them to come up with some metrics related to it.
because we're not one specific fit, like ours, I post on Instagram, someone buys something, Derek can measure it, you know? So this is more of a general, draw to town, like getting people to come downtown. So it's very hard to measure.
It's a very, very hard thing to quantify. It's one of those things where you don't know, to be honest with you. You're never gonna get a true solid answer on if it worked or not. Was it coincidence that more people showed up, or was it because of it? Outside of talking to every single person that comes into town to do any shopping, you can do some general polling, you can ask businesses, hey, since we did this marketing campaign, did you see an increase in business?
Right.
Did you see an increase in foot traffic? Did you make more money, or did you just have more people show up that didn't spend money? There's a lot of questions you can ask to get that information, but it's definitely gonna take some legwork. One thing about, I'm sure Jolene can comment on it, like economic development type things are hard to quantify, other than you can go, well, we have so many vacant storefronts, or we have so much sales tax for our community. So there's a lot of different ways you can come up with those stats, and you can pretty much probably make them say anything you want to in the process based on how you present them. So to answer your question, in a nutshell, that would be up to our social media manager to figure out.
And I think we have to go into it with the main objective is to bring people awareness of downtown, not to bring additional dollars per business, because people aren't gonna be happy with an unattainable, like, increase in sales if they don't know for sure that this social media manager has brought them personally new customers or whatnot. It might grow their audience, but it doesn't mean it's gonna grow their sales. So I think the whole goal can't be for everybody to make another dollar. It has to be to bring awareness about our businesses downtown, to get more people just to come downtown. Then what they do when they're here is up to each business individually. So it's a lot to request of a social media manager that they're gonna make you more money because they posted a story, you know?
I think the goal of the bid is to bring people to downtown,
Yeah.
and then it's up to the individual businesses to bring them in their door.
And
Is
keep
really
them
what it
there.
boils down to.
Yeah, bring them back.
Is how you have to look at it. But then you also have to remember that the bid isn't just retail and restaurants. There's
Right.
professional services, there's banks, there's salons, there's churches, there's lots of other organizations too. So we don't really wanna focus on representing just one area of downtown or one type of business or one particular thing, but bid has to market for them as a whole in that process. So that's a big challenge for that person. How do I market for Sven's Boutique and for the community church at the same time, in the same post, on the same social media platform? So it's a challenge, and that's, I think, where it's gonna be really difficult to get true quantitative results out of those events, or out of those pushes.
Yeah, and I just wanted to comment, really it's kind of a misnomer to call it a social media manager, because really what you're looking at doing is putting together the strategic plan for all of your marketing and your branding. So it's planting that seed in the mind of anybody in the audience, and then building the development of the brand of who Kingsburg is and bringing them here. So it's a lot more than just the social media, I think.
It's a marketing.
Yeah.
It's a marketing manager, sure.
If I may, before coming here, I was in the military in the public affairs section, and essentially what we call it was communication strategy. You know, so you're not just taking photos or posting on social media, you're coming up with a good communication plan. So yeah, it is more. And then the factor, June, that you mentioned, you know, how do you measure those metrics? It is hard to measure. The main thing that we can go off of are analytics that you can pull from Facebook, Instagram, where they'll talk about your engagement, how many people liked your comments, shared it, and then you can sort of make assumptions from there.
Those analytics will measure specifically the social media reach, though, right?
Correct.
Yeah, not the overall, yeah.
We don't know if they ever walked.
Yeah, we don't know if they came
Right.
to town, we don't
Like your
know
photo from Texas.
if
Right.
they liked the offering in the stores or the businesses that they walked into. It's really hard to measure, but you can use the analytics to find out how many people viewed the posts on the internet, how many people engaged, whether they, looked at it and flipped quickly to another page, or whether they stayed, whether they translated to, are we getting more hits on the website, which is the hope. So much.
Also, somebody was gonna get a bid for window cleans. Do we know?
Leslie was working on that with Raj.
Okay, so we're gonna follow
Yeah.
up on that. And then, what was the amount spent on the step and repeat wall? I know we budgeted a certain amount, but we were only gonna spend like the cost of it, and I just wanted to,
For the what?
we did that, like the backdrop that was done for the
Oh, yeah,
holiday
yeah, yeah,
open
yeah.
house.
I haven't gotten the invoice for that.
Okay, so it hasn't been paid for, or like we haven't paid them back for it, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I know we budgeted a certain amount,
Mhm.
but we weren't sure of the cost, and then we wanna use that for future events. That'd be a good thing to bring out for the line dancing night. At anything, or everything, I guess.
I was talking with my son last night about, because what he's doing with Queensborough County is extremely effective. He has 20 million views. And he has, I said, well, how can we translate that to Kingsburg, downtown Kingsburg? So he was coming up with some ideas. He said maybe, when he gets a swarm of bees, he films it, and then he edits it down to 30 seconds. And then, one thing he was suggesting was, somebody, these are all videos. Somebody take a picture of the coffee pot water tower, and then ask people on the street, is this a teapot or a coffee pot? And then, just something like that, to grab just 30 seconds worth, and then tell where this is. And then, we have so many dollar horses around town, and I can see something being done with them as well. And, right now, he's thinking of doing it, through, Kingsburg Honey, because that's where all of his things are being done now, of course. 20 million is a lot of people to see.
I'm sure we could share whatever he creates that's like downtown.
All right, any other business? We have a lot to work on. All right. That being said, let's adjourn to our next scheduled meeting, which is
April 4th.
April 4th, 8 a.m.